Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday and it's OCTA Day. We're going to talk about quite a bit of ugly news, some bad news, and some positive news. But we are in a little bit of a danger zone right now with Bitcoin and crypto and the markets that showed some extreme vulnerability over the last 24 hours. Yes, it's a whipsaw. Hello, Abrasive Justin and B-Man and T&D Tesla. You're in early. Appreciate you all. Thanks for coming. Let's get into it to make this snappy as always and try punch in some new knowledge every minute. Never financial advice. And a shout out to Patreon. This is from your Patreon site is amazing and the updates are on point. Awesome. Sometimes the updates can be a little hard hitting, but sometimes things need to be said. Okay, let's get into the ugly news. We had a pretty rough last 7 days against Bitcoin. You can see everything across the board was down with the exception of Zcash, the only dark green on the map in dollar terms. And by the way, it's changed because literally within the last 20 minutes, Bitcoin has pumped. Wow, it's pumped bigly. It's gone up $2,000. So that's very weird. Like literally 10 minutes ago it was 109K and change, and now it's 112,348. It's gone up $2,500. Wow. Something's going on. We're not sure what. Maybe, actually, that will make, no, October's still down, given that gain. But anyway, let's get into some of the bad news. We had a crazy situation for all the technologies out there. As I say, AWS sneezes, and crypto gets the flu. Amazon Web Services outage knocked out tons of centralized crypto platforms. Coinbase, Robinhood, MetaMask, all the Ethereum layer 2s, Base, Polygon, Optimism, all the other weird stuff out there. User funds were safe, but the incident exposed crypto's ironic reliance on centralized infrastructure as a convenience. And notice things like Solana didn't go down. Things like Twitter X didn't go down. SpaceX didn't go down. But the centralized stuff on AWS did. So it's a complete wake-up call for anybody that's supposedly creating decentralized infra. That's not it. In other ugly news too, Chris Larsen, the founder of Ripple XRP, dumped 50 million XRP, worth about 120 million, just in the past hour. Shout out to Martoon as well, who shared this. I mean, if they're so bullish, why are they cashing out? But, XRP's been doing this for the last 8 or 9 years. Worst tokenomics ever. They keep dumping like a 50 billion in escrow. But people still believe it's going to be incredible. No, it doesn't make any sense. I think they make 12,000 in fees a day, and the market cap is nearly $1 trillion. It's just completely wild. Some things just don't make sense to me. And credit card delinquencies hit global financial crisis levels. This is not good at all. People are hurting out there. This is unpaid credit card balances for at least 3 months, highest level in 14 years. And we know how bad the global financial crisis was. We have arrived again. It's really, really bad out there, and people just can't afford the interest rates. So many credit cards charge between 20% and 30% a month on your balances, and then fees. And then you miss a payment, they jack the rates even higher. And it's just brutal out there. And not just credit cards, but also these things called collateralized loan obligations. They basically bundle up things like subprime car loans into big boxes and then sell them to investors. Don't ever buy these things, by the way. $2 trillion was sent into these products. But now that rates are high, they are really straining companies. We have lots of companies like subprime car lenders like Tricolor Auto, never heard of before, and a few others, all hitting the wall. Very, very, very bad situation. The fiat world all over the planet is crumbling. And the pain is not just felt by governments. We saw problems 3 times, but you have individuals not able to pay their bills, governments not able to pay their bills, but they got money printers, individuals don't. So it's just a real horrible mess out there. So be careful, everybody. Watch your debt levels. Make sure you can make your payments. And if it couldn't get worse, this is the most ugly news I've had in quite some time, by the way, probably this year. Volkswagen is running out of money. I talk about ICE industry, the internal combustion engine car makers. They are melting fast. I remember I made a post about 6 months ago. I said in the next 5 years, many of the big ICE makers will cease to exist. They're going to go bankrupt or be bailed out by governments. The writing's on the wall. They survive on tiny, thin margins, which have been destroyed, ripped apart. We're going into the high end of the S curve of 20% BEV penetration. If you're still planning to sell ICE vehicles over the next 5 years, you're dead. Hybrids are ICE vehicles too, with, as SMR says, a vibrator-sized battery. It's ridiculous. But Volkswagen is running out of money. They don't earn any money. They're trying to sell off units. They can't invest in new cars. They're in a death spiral. And it's ugly. And that just also goes for not just Volkswagen, but Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, Stellantis, Ford, General Motors. Everybody is in a world of hurt. Well, we got the ugly news out of the way. Let's get into some bad news. Fear and greed is still 34. Fear for crypto and 30 for stock market. Stock market is more fearful than the crypto market, which is interesting. And I keep an eye on Bitcoin because it's going on a complete rampage. It's gone up another $300 since I began. We are now 112,721. This is wild. What's going on? Anywho, let's see. Big move. It's funny because Bitcoin price moves during DCA and it moves sometimes during my live streams too. Now, Rektober is down 5% so far. I'm going to go and check my little spreadsheet and see exactly. Sorry for this little interruption, but I want to see how far we are down so far this month. I think we should be close down 2%, considering this bump to 112.7. And no, wow. Okay, we're down 1% now. 1% for the month. That's exciting. I'll take that. So October could still be October. Hang on, everybody. Things are changing very fast. And sorry about the noise and the dog below chewing something. Anyhow, digital asset fund flows last week were slightly negative. You know, there was a crazy week last week with everything going on, but still, they kind of made it. And the top 50 over the last 30 days, literally Zcash. That's actually the last 90 days, by the way, not 30 days. Zcash is up 561%. Privacy is everything. Everything else was down across the board until maybe now. Again, the market just pumped very hard. And speaking of privacy, Solana is now becoming the most privacy-capable blockchain in crypto, according to Solana Incubator. And this from Spaceman Dev of Cohorts 3. They are sitting down to talk about all things encryption, all things privacy, security. I think now, as the world spins into this Orwellian hellhole, everybody's really worried about their privacy and having the ability not to be monitored or censored by governments. That's why things like Zcash are on fire. Now, we didn't have much bad news, which is good. Let's get into the good news, because there are positives. And again, this is all prepared before the market literally just went to the moon. Wow, it's gone up 113 grand right there. Live. Can't even look at the charts. I get distracted. Anyway, it is very different this time. I covered this very briefly yesterday, Bitcoin after halvings, the black line. We have not had a parabolic run at all. We have just had a very slow grind up with historically low volatility. Nothing is going on. It's a big asset, 2.2 trillion, and it just trundles along, gently moves up. In addition, we have funding rates. Now, this also almost always sets up for short squeeze. This is the Bitcoin funding rates. They are negative because fear has returned to the market, and then people buy insurance. Funding rates across major derivative exchanges are red, as you can see down there. But what happens after they go red? Well, each and every time the Bitcoin price goes up. Okay, so this could be like a buy indicator. Funding rates negative, buy. Fear and greed under 20, buy. That simple. It's kind of interesting, but we'll see what happens next. But I expect Bitcoin price to go up because in a bull market, this is always a contrarian signal. Okay, when sentiment becomes so bearish, it marks the point of reversal, my friends. So We'll see. It's already reversing a little faster than expected. And we're still getting slightly bearish indicators here, slightly down again, as this is the crypto quant bull bear market cycle indicator. It does dip ever so slightly during a bull market, and then the price goes on a rampage. And as I shared yesterday briefly as well, few times in history I've offered a better chance to buy Bitcoin. If you have a gold bag, it's worth thinking about pivoting. The rotation now at 31 ounces per Bitcoin is historically low. The price of gold is also very high, and it's still going up. Let's check on the gold price real quick. Gold down. Oh my goodness, what happened? Gold just dumped 5.3% down to 4,100, and Bitcoin's going to the moon. Maybe they're already rotating. Now, we did have a weird little double top on gold, and that typically can be a bearish sign too, but we'll see. Anyway, shout out to the gold bugs. You had the best 6 months in the past 30 years. Well done. Every dog has its day, as I say. Oh, people always say, oh, yeah, you were wrong about gold. No, I wasn't. No, you're better off being a Bitcoin, unless it was the last 6 months. Okay, that's just historical fact. Do it yourself on a chart. And another bearish signal, again, slightly bearish. We did have attempts to regain control on the 13th and the 20th. 20th is yesterday, but both failed. But maybe the steam has not quite failed. Maybe the impulse is happening today instead. We'll see. It's always darkest before the dawn. All the indicators I've shared with you, although they're in the good news category, you'd think they're bearish, but they're actually contra-indicators. So when they say like funding rates are negative, sets up for a short squeeze each and every time. Now, what is interesting is up until like half an hour ago, we were 14% from an all-time high, and we were struggling with the 200-day moving average. We were dipping in between the 200-day moving average a bunch of times. Just this morning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and then yesterday, 1 time, twice, 3 times. So this is a weird little bit of flirting happening. We're 14% from all-time highs now, actually above 113,000 Bitcoin. We're probably about 11.5% from all-time highs. Not too bad. But that 200-day moving average is critical in a bull market. Yes, we can pierce it, but then we need to get back above it as quickly as possible. If we spend a sustained amount of time under it, we're talking like 2 weeks plus, that's a bad sign. So be careful. And while people are screaming, saying, oh, Bitcoin's dead, well, the ETF people don't think so. And yes, the ETFs were negative yesterday slightly. But just look at the month of October so far. Last week was negative. This week has started off negative, but we are still up for the month of October. Monthly inflows, 3.73 billion, which is more than the month of September, which was a positive month. So again, all is not lost. There will be that perpetual bid for Bitcoin, okay, especially with fiat world imploding, car loan market imploding, credit card market imploding, fiat's imploding around the world. France, shout out to France. Sorry about losing your crown jewels and getting 3 downgrades in a month. That's just rough, very rough. But as I say, bad news comes in threes. Maybe there's one more hit coming. Now, this chart from N squared, I kind of like it. And it might be off a little bit. We were supposed to get a pump yesterday, 20th of October. Maybe it was delayed to today, to the 21st. Remember, things can be off by a couple of weeks or a month or a day or whatever. But the point is, the back half, and I shared a week ago, that the back half of October is always the strongest, not the front half. Front half is flat. And last week's video is called Inflection Point. I said I expected after the 15th of October, the price to go up. Now we are at the 20th, 21st, 7 days left. So we need some action coming in. But if you look here historically, 27th, 28th, 29th of October are boom days. And some years, the 30th of October, 31st are also boom days, getting ready for Moonvember. Moonvember may still be on the cards. I asked the panel on DCA yesterday, are we going into a longer cycle? Everybody said yes. Everybody. And Tom Lee still believes we'll get to 250K by Christmas. I assign that as 0.2% chance. And I'll be happy to eat my shoe live. I'll eat a crock or something live on YouTube if we hit $250,000 Bitcoin buy Bitcoin. And I guarantee you there's people in the audience here that will also join me eating a shoe if it does go that high. But then Eric Trump, the son of the US president, said Bitcoin's about to go parabolic in the next 75 days. Remember, they own Bitcoin miners. They have the ear of what's going on with the Scott Bessents and the Lutnicks, all in bed with Bitcoin. The US president, SBR, all filling their boots, all been debanked, all know the importance of this. So we'll see if he's right. But when these two fellows are very bullish, don't fade it. They may be off by $100,000, even if Tom Lee is directionally correct and we go to 150, I'll still be very happy. Let's look at flows by assets too. Bitcoin was the primary focus, down nearly $1 billion last week. But still, remember, we're still positive, heavily positive for the month of October so far. What else happened? There was some price weakness in Ethereum. Some people saw that as a buying opportunity. I know that BitMine bought a little bit of Ethereum. Maybe they snagged it. There was $205 million of inflows into Ethereum. And Solana is a fifth of the size of Ethereum. And they had nearly 200 million, 156 million, which isn't bad too. So a lot of people are front running, especially in our friends in Europe. They're buying these Solana ETPs because the Europeans are smart watching the show. If you're from Europe, drop a flag in the chat. But you know what's up, which is very positive, and you're front running the US ETF launch once the government gets reopened, whenever that is. Let me make sure I'm not even talking to myself. I'm very quiet here. Yes. Check you out in the comments. It's like when I get up so early and do this, I don't have enough time to absorb enough coffee. But I want to see if anybody's here. Yes. Thank you, Shanti, for coming as well. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. Where were we? AltSeason. We're still middle of the road. It's just, we had a little flash in the pan early September for alts, but since then, nothing at all. Let's talk about stock market and AI for a while. Stock market of the last 7 days. Apple hit a new all-time high, up 7%. I think they're coming out with a new iPhone color. Not sure. They can't even get Siri to work in the age of AI. It's like madness. They got 4 times the market cap of. I'm not even gonna go there. Anyhow, Microsoft up 1%, Google up nearly 5%, Meta 3.5%, Tesla 4.5%, Amazon 2.8%. Despite the outage yesterday, it's still up. All these AI stocks. Nvidia down a little bit, taking a little bit of a breather. Another crazy news too. We have now a record $7.5 trillion in money market funds in the United States. This is called cash on the sidelines. Rate cut coming in approximately a couple of days. And when that happens, having cash in a money market fund won't look as attractive. It's going to have to go risk on into these puppies. So that's going to be another tailwind too. It's going to be still, I believe, a bullish Q4. And Kathy Wood says, basically, my interpretation, Elon Musk is the best capital allocator in history. And this is based on, by the way, Tesla earnings are tomorrow. I'll be doing a live stream on the usual 4-hour marathon. So feel free to join. I'll be with the whole Cyber Bulls gang too. But this is incredible. And I stress this again, the comp plan, if it gets approved, you've never, ever had a playbook to a 10x in your life for any stock. Okay. She says, based on preliminary research, no company in history has grown EBITDA 41% at an annual rate or 30-fold over the next 10 years. If Elon team meets these goals, the impact will be much greater than on Tesla alone. Productivity and real GDP growth will accelerate meaningfully. Auto fatalities will drop more than 50%, which means in the US alone, 25,000 lives, by the way. Haters going to hate, but FSD has saved my life twice in the last 6.5 years. Also, Tesla shareholders, importantly, and their employees and their families will become more wealthy than they ever dreamed possible. And that 10x, not in 10 years. I think it's probably going to happen in 5 years because the risk happens fast. So make sure, even if you hate Elon Musk and you got EDS and everything else, just get a little position of Tesla and then thank me later. Don't let your biases keep you out of a good position. And just to prove how special this fellow is, Elon Founded of the world's most valuable private companies on the planet. He has founded of the top 9. In fact, you could argue number 10 could be Neuralink, but anyway, we're not going to go there. But of the top 9, he has founded the number 1 company, OpenAI, with Sam Altman, SpaceX, which I believe is very undervalued for what it does, global internet system and best rockets in the world, etc., heading to Mars, and XAI, number 1, 3, and 5. And he's the only guy that has created a new billion-dollar company every 4 years for the last 30 years, which is completely wild too. A little bit of a bright spark as well from MicroStrategy. They made a small purchase yesterday, but their board of director, Jared Patton, has bought 24,000 shares worth about 2.31 million. Board members get allocations. They have stock. But for him to go in and buy more is an extremely bullish sign for the asset. He has, of course, the ear of Michael Saylor. They know what's coming. And Michael Saylor spoke about STRC being kerosene for Bitcoin. We'll see. I still have my MicroStrategy. It's been a rocky ride, but remember, my cost base is like less than $16. So I'm holding because that's a huge part of my Bitcoin exposure in case Bitcoin goes to the moon, which, let me see, it could be today, up $2,600 live as we speak. Hello, Luke. Good to see you, buddy. Be safe on the water if you're out there sailing. Now, where was I? Juggling everything today. So that's MicroStrategy news. And finally, finishing with the meme du jour. Big day today. Select all the the Ethereum validators. By the way, these are the CAPTCHA tests. Whenever there's stairs or a bicycle or a bus, I can never get them. But I think I'm gonna get this one. Select all Ethereum validators that had an outage yesterday. That's classic. Anyhow, thank you, my friends, for coming. All these videos are turned into Substacks and podcasts you listen to in the gym. I go very fast, so make sure you get everything. And thank you for being here. Big thank you, Team to Tesla, Sean D, K8, and massive thank you too to Zeno. Good morning, Nick M, Moto89, Vig K, James Voishesang. Up early in New Zealand. Long-term holder, Mr. Mike Vagabond. Hope your puppy is getting better. Bitcoin Broccoli and AZ Rolfa. Appreciate you all. See you all tomorrow at the earnings call. We kick off around noon Pacific, and it'll be a fun one. I'll have some other stuff prepared. I'm going to map out how we get to a 10x and what the probability is of that. So expect some volatility. Typically, historically, Tesla sells off after earnings, but if it dips ahead of earnings, it can go up after earnings. So that's typically how it works. Anyway, thank you all. Have a good night, my friends, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.